Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Here we're going to highlight the Denon DP-57L, which is the clone of the DP-62L. The 57 was the Japanese market version, and the 62 is the, I guess, North America market, I believe also maybe Europe. The main and really only difference being that the Japan version is made for input voltage of 100 volts. The Japan plug is actually identical to the US plug, but ideally you would use this with a 120 to 100 volt step down transformer in the US or US, Canada, North America. So with that said, this table was introduced by Denon in 1982. I believe it was available from 1982 to 1983. One step down from their highest offering, and their top turntable at that time was the DP-57L, or in the US, the 72L. Sorry for all the numbers here. And the 67L had a little bit heavier platter and a little bit heavier plinth. Cosmetically, the Denon symbol moved from the top to here. So the 57L, fantastic table. The standout feature of it is the electromagnetic damping for your Tonearm resonance. So kind of a technical thing, but what it allows the table to do is, number one, work well with a wide variety of cartridges, and solve the problem of really Tonearm vibration. Your Tonearm, you want your Tonearm to be able to move freely as it tracks the record. At the same time, you don't want the Tonearm to be shaken by the the stylus, which is being vibrated at a wide variety of frequencies by the record. And so it keeps the Tonearm stable without adding a whole lot of mass, which then can create some of its own issues and compromises. So an incredible technical solution from the really the peak of the vintage era for turntables, which late 70s, early 80s, and this one right at that period. This one's essentially right before the introduction of a CD. So this is about as advanced as turntables ever got. With that, let's take a little bit better look at the table. So fantastic looking piece. Denon was really known for their distinctive styling, kind of this flying saucer look, and almost kind of like a Star Wars look to the Tonearm as well. It's kind of like turret aspect going on here. Now, the technological piece again is that electromagnetic damping, which provides the benefits of most noticeably stereo separation and imaging, but you're also it's going to reduce any distortion by not having the Tonearm vibrating in relationship to the stylus, by keeping it stable while still able to track very accurately in the groove. Get great tracking, which leads to your lower distortion, as well as that imaging we talked about. So very much an advance that is noticeable and provides a real sonic benefit. Interesting with this table is you can adjust that damping factor. It's called Q damping here. You can adjust it. The idea is that you set it similar to anti-skate. You set it to the same value as your stylus force, but you could do it higher or lower, or take it out. If you take it out, then you can do comparisons, and then that's where you notice that does provide a nice benefit. Now, this arm came with two, or the Tonearm rather, or table came with two arms. The whole arm here is swappable. It's fixed very nice and snugly here, and then latched down with this thumb screw. In addition to the straight arm, which gives you, this is kind of a medium light mass tone arm. It's an S arm that's available, and then that brings it up to more of a medium to medium heavy mass arm. And the benefit there, the main benefit there is it uses your standard mount head shell. So then you could, if you're interested in swapping cartridges, probably would make sense to acquire the S mount. Of course, you could always find another. So generally, these are generally available. I see them frequently on eBay and other places. The straight arm is typically is less expensive than the S arm. Straight arm, maybe around 150. S arm, maybe around 200 now. Everything related to vintage is becoming more desirable. So maybe if you watch, you can find it for that. If you're patient, if you want something right now, you may pay 150 to 200 to 250. But let's get back to the table. The table is really marketed to the person who likes the experience of a manual table, but wants that benefit of the electronic damping. And it's in an overall package with excellent build quality. So I believe this is 26 pounds. So nice size, nice weight, excellent build quality, nice look, nice feel, very handsome deck. One thing I like from the standpoint of just the aesthetics is because all the buttons are here, because there's no badges or anything, the plinth is just so clean. Typically there'll be control panels here and here, or sometimes across the front, and that can be beautiful in its own way. But I think this one goes for this very, very clean aesthetic, which is it just looks great. The other thing I like from the aesthetic standpoint is these chunky buttons with the light up buttons with the great colors. So you got that orange, and then you have the green. Now, when I replace these lamps, I only use the original spec incandescent lamps to give you. This is the accurate color. This is the way they should look. I'm not sure if it's absolutely accurate through the my phone camera here, but it is definitely correct in person. These should look orange, and these should look green, kind of a medium green. So to use this table is very simple. So it's a manual table. It's but has that electronic damping and has auto lift. Be sure to try to show that in the demo. So the idea is you move your Tonearm over, and let me hit it right now. When you're not playing, you could just leave the Tonearm like that, or it's kind of like a rubber grip right there. So really convenient. It holds it securely. It's not going to move. So when you bang the table, it's not going to move. But very easy to do. You don't have to clip anything or anything like that. So very convenient from that standpoint. So move over, position it over your groove, and then, just start 33 or start 45. So in this case, start 33. And it has a nice electromagnetic. Let's see, is my amp on? It may have gone off. Oh, my preamp's off. Sorry about that. So let's, I'm gonna restart that. So again, you'd come over. There we are. This is a classical record, pretty long lead in groove, which is nice. It's also very, very quiet record in good condition, so not a lot of clicks and pops. But so very easy to play. When it gets to the end, it will lift, and you also can lift manually. And what's nice is it does have it has its own basically it's not really a motor strictly that's, you know, say spinning fast and being reduced by a pulley or a gear. It has a pretty beefy sized electromagnet that just turns about, with a ramp on it that just turns about a third of a turn gently. So very controlled on the up and down, and you don't have to worry about, like, you know, typically it's not a table that's going to, you know, stick there. You don't have to be critical about what level of how much damping grease you put in there. It's just lubricated normally. So let's go to the end. I'm going to just go basically to the end, and we'll go back down and watch the table lift. So it lifts and it stops the platter. Now you would need to turn it off manually with that switch, but it does lift and turn off, and then you can bring it back to the rest. So from not a whole lot to talk about really from the standpoint of function and operation. From the standpoint of playing a record, it behaves like a manual turntable, but it does lift at the end, for, you know, which is an enormous convenience if you're not always in a very active listening session. Now, two other adjustments you have are your cue damping, we talked about that, and your anti-skate. So those are adjustable separately from the tracking force. So those are adjustable separately, and both of those are electronically applied. So your damping obviously is your electromagnets, and your anti-skate as well, since you have electromagnets controlling resonance in the horizontal and vertical plane. You can use those horizontal magnets to apply anti-skate, which is your opposing force from the natural tendency, or the natural force because of the tonearm geometry, to want to push inward. So you can also adjust that. So both of those can be adjusted while you're playing a record. You can really suit your taste. Now, this table does balance, the tonearm rather balances in the absolutely traditional way. You would you know, move it over to about here, and put down your lifter, you know, cue down. What's nice about this one is when it's cued down, you don't have the risk of hitting the table or anything like that. It's very safe to do this. Now, I do have tracking force applied, but you would bring it back to, bring it to the 0 position. There's, you know, it's indicated on the scale. Bring it back to the 0 position, then adjust the weight forward or backwards till it's balanced, essentially balanced horizontally perfectly. There's a test you can do to make sure, number one, you have it balanced, and number two, that your bearings are in excellent condition. Just cut a piece of paper, you know, kind of like the size of a small postage stamp, and just lay it on there gently, and the tonearm should react to that and come down a little bit, you know, a few millimeters. I think it's called the postage stamp test. But anyway, then you balance the arm, then apply your tracking force here with that dial. You could always check it if you want with a scale. I find it actually to be quite accurate, certainly within a tenth of a gram, certainly within the indications that are on the dial. So anyway, you balance, then you apply your tracking force and your cue damping, and I typically set those to the same value. In this case, I've probably set about 2.7 grams. This cartridge goes from 2.5 to 3. And this table has been fitted with this cartridge. These Denons can, you know, it's going to sound nice with an entry-level cart, and it's not going to hold back the finest cart either. So they're really wonderful standpoints from the standpoint of the table, the platter, the accuracy, the isolation from, you know, from audio, you know, acoustic or mechanical vibration through the floor of the table. You know, through to the tonearm, its ability to track that damping and the benefits that gives. It's really, really nice table. And again, for the person who likes the experience of the experience of a manual table, but the sonic benefits of the technology at that time. So I think that's about it. I don't see, as it's essentially a manual table, I don't see the point to demo a a 7-inch record or 45. It it locks to speed very quickly. It's got coarse lock. It locks to speed on 33 or 45 quickly. You may have noticed, I don't know how well you can see the label spinning, but it does also have electronic braking, so it brings itself to a stop, so you don't have to wait for it. Now it's a very beautifully balanced and stable and smooth motor. So if you had it running and then if I just powered it off, I'm not getting electronic braking, and it will just goes to a stop in a minute or so. Very, very, very nice quality motor that Denon built their motors in-house. Pretty sure they did, because their motors were distinct from others. And they had a long tradition, certainly, of motor units and tables over many decades. So you can see it beautifully balanced that motor is. So anyway, let's call it a wrap at this point. And I love these tables. This one has been fully restored. Everything's been done from the standpoint of mechanical, cosmetic. Full recap of all the electrolytics is about 29 or 30 capacitors in this one, all high quality, Nichicon. And let's call it a wrap. So thank you very much. Take care.